And heartbreak for a young Melbourne couple. They've lost their life savings after falling victim to a sophisticated text scam. $98,000 was stolen when they responded to a series of texts they believed to be from their bank. They moved their money as requested, only it wasn't Westpac asking them to shift the funds, and the bank has only reimbursed them $3,000.
And Sarah and James join us now, guys. I'm very sorry to hear this news. You must be devastated. How did this happen?
Yeah, it happened back in August last year, actually. I received a text from Uber asking to update my payment details. And, you know, like a lot of other Melburnians, you know, we receive these scam texts every single day. And it obviously just caught me at a good time. And, you know, I put in my details. And then from there, about an hour and a half later, I received a text from Westpac under the same text message thread where I've received all of my texts previously. Asking to call them straight away, and that I was trying to transfer $5,500 to a name that I didn't recognise. And so, you know, like anyone would, I called it and, you know, was greeted by someone who was posing to be from the Westpac fraud hotline, who was glad that I called and said that, you know, basically, you know, we can cancel these attempted transfers, but ultimately the safest thing for me to do would be to close my accounts and set up a brand new one. So over the course of the coming days, I transferred our savings thinking I was doing the best case scenario, but ultimately, you know, I was fooled.
That seems unbelievably elaborate. Was there something about it that made it particularly believable to you?
Yeah, definitely. I think the text coming from the same thread where I receive all my Westpac texts was the biggest thing that kind of kept me going. I'd had texts on there from when I opened my account and when we started our home loan and all sorts of things. And then obviously at some point they've been able to intercept that thread and put in their own messages. But even after all was said and done, I still receive texts on there from Westpac now, and you know, that continues to be the communication line that they use. So it's pretty alarming that, you know, something that I trusted is, yeah, very much not trustworthy.
Sarah, I mean, this is, like James said, we're all subject to so many attempted scams now, but I can't even begin to imagine what it's like. Did James tell you that he'd been scammed? And what was that moment like?
Yeah, so early in the week, James had told me that, you know, what we thought was the Uber scam was happening and that he's been speaking to Westpac and sorting it out. So, of course, you know, I've taken his word for it and thought, you know, no worries, it's all going to get sorted, it's all good, we've avoided something a lot worse. Of course, throughout the course of the week and starting to see less and less money in the account, it does raise alarm bells until the Friday afternoon where, you know, both of our stomachs really dropped when it was all gone and, you know, the person that James had been dealing with was no longer contactable. And that's really things start to get quite serious and devastating.
Yeah, because the knock-on effect for you two, not only the money, which is just absolutely devastating, but also for you as a couple. Like, how has that been, the recriminations that you would feel towards yourself, James, and Sarah, you trying not to blame him, but also, James, it was your fault? Do you know what I mean? All that stuff as a couple is terrible.
I think we're pretty lucky that we've got a pretty strong relationship and we can just talk through it and there'd be nothing worse than, I suppose, going through all of this, you know, by ourselves. So I think we count ourselves lucky in that sense.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the mental side of things has been, yeah, pretty intense over the last kind of 6 months. And, you know, some days you're thinking about it all the time and other days it kind of leaves your mind. And, you know, it's definitely been something that we've tried to not dwell on, but also at the same time we're trying to push and we're trying to get our money back. And so, you know, you have your good and your bad days. And I think, yeah, it's been if nothing else, it's been a very, you know, big learning experience for us. And, you know, both from a, you know, mental and, you know, the money side of things.
Oh, I just feel so sick for you both. It is so much money. Where are you at now? Can you get any of that money back?
Yeah, so we're in negotiations at the moment, but the financial body that we're using to, I suppose, mediate negotiations has essentially told us that we're unlikely to get any more than $5,000, and Westpac have made an offer of $3,000, which, you know, obviously given how much we've lost, it's it hurts.
Sarah, James, the banks tend to spruik their security credentials. I'm really interested that they've told you that this sort of scam happens all the time, that there's not much they can do about it, that they are aware that the scammers are able to get into the message threads that they have with you as customers. Do you think they should be doing a bit more than offering you $3,000?
Absolutely. I mean, it should be an industry standard. Other banks do it well and clearly others don't. So it seems very strange to us. You know, obviously going through all of this, all of our friends said, you know, no worries, the banks handle this really well, and we've just not had that experience. So it's something that probably needs a bit of awareness, I think.
Sarah, James, we're thinking of you. We hope there's a better outcome than the one you're facing currently. Thanks, Sarah and James. Take care of yourselves.
Thank
Thank you.
We're told to be vigilant about this stuff, but when they're actually infiltrating the messages, legit messages that have been sent by your own bank, how do you differentiate that?
You've got no chance.
It's not like that was, you know, a chain email from a country that you're not associated with. Like, you could see people falling for it. It's the same, the same text message thread. It's like everyone would have fallen for that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I'm sticking with my Nigerian fiancé. How's he going? We haven't met yet, but we're really
He's
in love.
looking after all your money at the moment, isn't he?
100%.
Does he have a brother?
Yes, he does.
Sisters-in-law.